Hey guys, my name is Demi, and today we are going to be looking at Final Fantasy XIV A Realm Reborn character creations. Now this is the full character creations, so we'll go ahead and start off with the races first. There's the Here, which is male and female, Elzin, male and female, Lalafell, male and female, Miqote, male and female, and Rodogan, male and female. Rogadin, I think that's what it's called. Yeah. So for mine, I chose to go with the cat people, of course, since they're so cute. And there are two versions, I think, for each race as well, like where you start off at. And for the cat people is Keeper, Seeker of the Sun, and Keeper of the Moon. They give slight differences in the attributes, as you can see actually on the description as well. So you just need to take a little quick peep at the description there. The next, there is such a long list of attributes that you could maximize or diminish. There's height, and for females now they actually included the bust size as well. Now it's not like where you go from like double A's to triple D's or something like that, but you know, I think the highest it goes up to is like a C cup. It's an average, it fits in your hand, kind of like that. I don't know, is that too much information? Never mind. Anyways, they do offer several skin colors from a very light shade to also, of course, a very deep shade. I think the amount of colors that they provide to you is about 200 shades, so that is pretty impressive in my opinion. Not everyone will have the same skin color unless you go with the default, which, you know, you're gonna be stark white, I think. And also, as you can see here, you could change the environment that you are at. So if the default environment, which is like this crystal place there, is a little bit too off and you can't really see your colors, you could actually put them in settings out in the real world where you can actually test how your character looks. You know what? Someone told me that I say actually like a lot, so now I'm being self-conscious about it, and so I'm trying to not say actually so often. So there. Now it's gonna be so. Fuck. Moving right along. Yes, so you could finally choose the skin color shade. You could then move on to the next attribute. Now, obviously, if you're not a cat person, you won't have this tail attribute to adjust. So that means the attributes that you could basically change would differ among the races. So for cat people, you have this tail option. For the human race, you wouldn't have that because you don't have a tail. So yeah, you choose the length and the tail type, and then you move on to hairstyles. Now there are approximately about 20 hairstyles for each race. They differ slightly, so depending on what race you are, you have certain hairstyles that are available to you. So whether you be a human race or a, you know, little Lalafell tiny guy race or one of the elves, the hairstyles that you could choose will be different among each race. Despite only having 20 hairstyles, and some of the hairstyles actually do repeat because some of the hairstyles, like that short bob, that one right there, it actually has a headband on it, and for each one there's 3 different styles they give that headband, which counts as a hairstyle. So that kind of sucks, but don't let that get you down too much, because your character's hair color will definitely be a different shade from everyone else. So as you can see here, we moved on to the base hair color. Now the base hair color again is from a 200 color palette, so it gives you a very wide range from very vivid colors to muted colors to stark white to actual like black. So there's a lot of shades that you could choose from, and on top of that, if you see that small little box on the side that says highlights, if you choose that, you can actually put in highlights in your character that are a different shade. So that's why I say that you'll have a different hair color than everyone else, because depending on how you mix, you know, your base color and your highlight color, that will make, you know, you set apart from everyone else. Unfortunately, the highlights, you cannot place them where you want to place them or move them or adjust them where the highlights are or where they are. So yeah, sorry about that, but they didn't give us that option, which kind of sucks, but it's still not bad to have a secondary highlight option that I haven't seen in any other game before yet, so I'm quite impressed. Next, we move on to faces. Now, there are 4 preset faces that you could choose from. These faces, unfortunately, the face markings are there. You can't really take them off. So if you choose the one that has face markings, later on you can't remove it. So just keep that in mind. And then next would be the jaw options. Now there's 4 types that you could choose from, and the best way to shape your jaw would be to look at it from the front and then see what jaw you like. And then of the ones that you like, you could turn your character to the side to make sure that it's not jutting out a weird way that you couldn't see from the front. Just a little tip for making characters multiple times in different games. Then once you choose your jaw, you can move on to eye shape. There's a little bit more selection for the eye shapes. There's 6 types that they give you. For the cat people, you have a little bit more of a wider eye, a more narrow, more close together, a little bit far apart, one with a little bit more lashes and such. And the next would be the iris size. Now, I'm not sure if they have this for the males because there's seem to be a little bit lower or smaller, but for females they do have this iris size to enhance your eyes to be more cat-like or more dolly or more, narrow to have a more sultry look. Then of course you could choose the eye color, and of course there is a 200 color palette you could choose from here as well. Now, something unique about this game that I haven't seen in any other games was that you could actually choose odd eyes. Now if you saw in that section right there, kind of like how there was the highlight portion in the hair, there's something called odd eyes, and if you just check off that, another second 200 color palette will appear, and at that time you could choose separate eyes for each. The left side would be the left eye, of course, and the right palette would be for the right side. And once you get the eye colors that you want, you can move on to eyebrows. There were a couple of types. And then the nose. Of course, do the nose like you would do the jaw. Look at it from the front, see what kind of noses types that you like, and then take those types and look at it from the side and review them and see if you actually like the nose from the profile as well. It just gives your character a little bit more love and attention to get that perfect one you want. After you get your nose, just move on to the mouth. You could choose, a small kind of mouth or a more puckered mouth, depending on which one you want. And then it goes on to lip color. Now if you see on top, there's also a light and there is also a dark. Light means basically muted, so all the colors, even the crazy pink or the crazy purple, are gonna look a little bit muted or more subtle. If you choose dark, then it's gonna enhance that color to its full potential. I guess you could say more so like opacity. If you're saying dark, you're saying like 100% opacity. If you're saying light, you're looking at I guess 10 to 20%. So that's something to look out for. And after that, you could choose facial features. Now, facial features are another great way to make your character look that much more unique. You could choose as many facial features as you want simply by checking them off. If you don't want any, you could just remove the checks as well. Now, there are tattoos, and you just saw the 2 of them. I just simply removed mine because I didn't want any tattoos since I already have some. You could change the tattoo colors, so it gives you a unique feel. Again, you have that 200 color palette that you could choose from, and then you have something called face paint. Now, face paint is where, if you want your character to blush a little, you can put it on there. If you want them to have a little bit of eyeshadow or shading, or a cool tattoo on their cheeks, or, a battle scar, or, I don't know, warrior paint is what you call it. Who cares? But yeah, anything like that you want, you could choose from any of these, and you could also change the color among them. Of course, for girls, they have that heart one there, and they have the cute little blushing thing, as well as the chocobo. That was cute as well. I think for my character, I went with just some shading in the eyes to give a little bit more dimension in the eyes when the character is being looked at. So that's what I went with. And of course, you could change the paint colors as well to a shade that you want. And again, like they did for the lips, there is a dark and light option as well. Now the light option, again, it would be the opacity of like 20%. Dark would be like 100% opacity where you fully see and the actual true color. Now the light is where it's muted a little bit. Now I chose, like again, I did the kind of eyeshadow, so I wanted to be more flesh tone just to give it a little bit more dimension in the eyes to seem like they have deeper sockets. Now, the last but not least would be the voice. And you see me displaying a little bit there. There are a few options at the top where you have one where it's like, I'm mad. I'm angry. And then you have the next one where you're like cheering. You could choose from very different voice samples. Now the thing about these voice samples that you kind of have to watch out for is that sometimes they are not timed right to your character. So if you want it to be timed right and not have that awkwardness, you want to watch out for that and kind of listen through. Like the cheer, you could tell a lot when the voice and the movement actually sync together. So just be aware of that when you choose your voice. Now, unfortunately for the voice, it's only used for emotes, such as sitting, yelling, screaming, shouting. Why am I so mad? How about this? Clapping, cheering, waving, and some other nice stuff too. Yes, get over here. Beckoning. Yeah, so any of that sort. So the voices are used for that. They're not actually used for cutscenes or any kind of movie sequences, which is a little bit unfortunate in my opinion, because I just kind of like seeing that nowadays. But I think they just kind of wanted to remain a little bit true to the original MMO, where you actually have to read through everything instead of having everything like told to you. So that's that. Oh, that's cute. Alright, so once you pick your perfect voice, then you would move on to choosing a birthday on the Azorian calendar. Now the Azorian calendar works a little bit differently, but for your sanity, the actual months and dates correlate to real time actually is on the bottom. So I chose 3rd umbral moon because that's actually, you know, June 2nd, but I'm not telling you my real birthday, it's something else. But yeah, and then you would choose a god that you would base your beliefs on, I guess. The attributes or elemental attributes are listed for each god, and they are, or deity, whatever you want to call them, but they actually don't differ very much in stats or attribute numbers. Maybe they differ by like 1 point. So honestly, you could really pretty much close your eyes and choose one if you're especially going to be a melee character. However, just be warned that maybe later on in an expansion in the far, far future, it might actually mean something, so just be cautious of that. Now, of course, you would choose a job or a class to start off from, and if you want to know more information about that, be on the lookout for future videos highlighting each class and different job that you could possibly be. And at that point, you would choose a server to play on. Of course, there's the Japanese side and the American, European side, but you could definitely play on any server that you choose to play on. That's pretty much up to you and where your friends decided to play. At that point, you would simply decide of a character name fitting of your theme or design of how you want your character to be. Then press confirm, and it will finally ask you if you want to begin the game with this character, and that will be your first step into the world of Azoria. And upon entering this world, there is actually a small mini, I guess, guide that you will have to go through, and upon finishing that guide, you'll be vaulted into the actual live server where everyone will load, and I'm pretty sure the cities will be pretty hectic. So yeah, I hope you guys really enjoy this game, and I hope this video helped you decide on what kind of character you want possibly to look like. Now, this is the actual opening video, partial of it, so I'll go ahead and leave that here for you guys to see if you're interested, and I will check you guys later. Have fun! Bye bye!